Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the week ahead preview. All right, now let's just have a look at the markets. It's a bit of an interesting one because we are moving closer to the holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, and then all that sort of malarkey, right? So what we've got at the moment is, once again, starting the week, just having a look at the markets, US equity futures, right? Giving us an idea of what global equities will be doing. They're going down, right? And Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi are going up. Clearly not a risk on, risk off profile, right? So a bit of a disconnection there. And this is sort of pretty normal market conditions, to be honest. So don't think it's anything bizarre. We're just seeing a lot of risk on, risk off lately. So the US equities down and the dollar's down generally. Okay, the dollar yen just doing its own thing. So don't rely on that to start with. To me, well, it doesn't make me super uncomfortable, but it makes me think about, okay, what's going on here? So now, let's just have a look at this week, and I'll come back and have a look at the charts because the dollar, well, it's in a bit of a doldrum at the moment. So if we just have a look at the week, right, we're in the sort of like the first week of the month, right? I know, obviously, non-farm payrolls, the start of the month started last, Thursday, Friday. So we've got like a little linking week, right? And we've got the US CPI numbers Wednesday week, I think it is. So this week here, the real focus, we've got the RBA interest rate decision, the Bank of Canada. Okay, have a look, 0.5% expected for the Bank of Canada, and a very strange number there expected for the 0.25 for the Aussie, right? Really slowing things down. But as you come into the holiday season, right, the central banks are not going to want to wind up the market and scare the hell out of them. So I can imagine what happens, what is forecast to happen will be there as far as interest rate hikes go, but they will not be as aggressive, right? They don't want to sort of unsettle the market through that December, January period, generally, right? Unless something weird happens. So outside of that, I'm not real big on looking at GDP at this stage or balance of trade. IVPMI is a bit of a number. Inflation rate out of China, Friday, maybe US PPI. Yeah, whatever, right? If anything, it's a bit of a nothing week outside of these two central bank meetings. And these interest rate meetings, or central bank meetings, I should say, will be more focused on the statement than the actual change, right? If they don't change rates to what the consensus is, right, well, then you get an immediate move on what they haven't done, right? So if they're expected to raise, like the Bank of Canada is expected to raise by 0.5, they only go by 0.25, CAD will get sold off. And the same sort of thing with the Aussie. If they don't do anything on the Aussie, it's been factored in, they're going to raise by 0.25, they would sell Aussie straight away. But what I'm suggesting is they will do what's expected, right? They like to forecast what they're doing, but then it comes down to the statement, and it doesn't make it a good trading opportunity anyway, put it that way. And so what you want to be looking at is, and brings us back over to the charts, is look, so you look at that week of data, it's not really that gorgeous, it's not like sort of wham, bam, thank you, man. You look at the dollar at this stage, okay, falling. So Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi all heading topside. Now, this could be the case going into, like, for this coming week, right? There's nothing to really slow the dollar down at this point. And if you have a look at the general news, and if I just swing you across to my far screen, what they're looking at the moment is this whole situation around China, right? And there's a lot of sentiment around them reopening things, relaxing the pandemic rules and lockdowns and these sorts of things. That's a boost for global growth. So what we'll see is equities rally. The US dollar should fall. At the moment, it's not really doing that, but it is Asia Monday, and not a lot's happening at this point. So just be aware that's the sort of probably the main theme. So when you come back and look at the markets in general, okay, what we're going to see is that news will come in, come out, bounce around all week. So you're going to see equities going up and down. I'd say every other day. Like the news services, they don't like keep printing the same thing. So they'll go, yeah, they're going to open up China. The next day it'll be, we're going to lock down China. and vice versa, right? Until the market gets sick of it, then they'll change their tone. But that's all we've got to work with at the moment. It's not a crazy huge week, but we may see some trending activity as we go forward. Just having a look at the overall global markets, right? Just on a technical perspective. Right, just get that up. All right. So obviously the dollar index down, euro up, gold still heading topside. A lot of value in that. Oil is just now found a bit of a home around $80 a barrel. The Dow Jones Minis, okay, heading topside, as is the NASDAQ. Bitcoin slowly picking itself up off the floor. Now, to me, the risk on, like, the cryptos are now sort of very closely connected with the equity markets, right? So with, interest rates going up or a risk on, risk off profile, you'd expect the cryptos to be following the equity markets. Commodities still heading topside, and that supports a higher Aussie, Kiwi, and CAD, or Canadian dollar. Not to be confused with the dollar CAD. So that's where we are as far as the global markets. As I said, I showed you the equity of the currency markets. There are opportunities here. Okay, that was a crazy repeat. With the dollar just slowly moving topside, it's a good idea to start coming over to your charts. I'm just going to get up a technical page here where you're looking at the instruments on a daily perspective to try and work out exactly what's happening, where are the bigger levels, right? It's a good idea to, and someone's been messing around with my charts, get all the dollar, the daily charts up so you can actually see where the bigger levels are, right? And that way there you can start to maybe piece together. I don't think that the strong dollar is over yet, but what we have is a week where we may see dollar weakness just because there's nothing around between here and then, right? The non-farm payrolls on Friday, obviously pretty disruptive to the markets, but you know what? Unemployment rate was 3.7%, a bigger increase in jobs, and that saw an immediate dollar rally and then fall. It's pretty hard to work out. I mean, I did warn everyone about trying to trade those non-farm payrolls. It can be rather troublesome. So anyway, the best thing you can do is get your charts up, have a look through all your technical levels, start to piece together which instruments, not just the currencies, you're looking at commodities and, say, equity indices, see which instruments do have a good technical profile, right? And then you can start to piece some good opportunities together. Like dollar CAD here is right back towards support there at 134. That gets me interested. Now, I'm not sure if I'm a buyer or seller yet, but I've got something to work with there on the technical side, and that gets me a little bit excited. And I can see here on Euro, right, just at the start of the week, if I just scroll that across, you can see there's the technical line at the top. So looking at 106.40, I mean, you think about a month ago, you probably think you would never see Euro back at 106. It was heading towards 85, and here we are. So potentially good opportunities to, I still think, get short Euro. I mean, I can't see until I see the US CPI numbers, not this week, the following week. We'll work out whether the US economy's topped out. If it hasn't, like the Euro economy hasn't done anything. So they're a long way behind the US. But, bearing in mind, we do have to wait over a week for the US CPI numbers. That's what I'm saying. We may get a week where we get a bit of dollar weakness, especially if there's news around the Chinese opening up the markets over there. Okay, reviewing the lockdown rules and all that sort of stuff may sort of give the market a fresh, upbeat vibe. Global growth means equities up, dollar down, and that could be the theme of this week, right? Keep an eye on the RBA and the Bank of Canada. Those two events are obviously key, but I think they'll be a little bit tricky with the statements being the major part of it, right? Okay, so from the tone of my voice, you can probably tell it's a bit lackluster, right? But you know what? We're sort of in a bit of a holding pattern, waiting for those US CPI numbers. I can't wait for that. But, it's going to be a long week waiting for it. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.